Right, hi. So I was in Asda yesterday. Now, Asda is like the supermarket. I think in America, in the US, you've got like an equivalent called Walmart. So it's basically the English version of Walmart or the British version of Walmart. Okay. So what happened? I wanted to buy some burgers. I fancied having some burgers and eggs for breakfast. And so I went there. I was going to get the frozen burgers, which I've had a few times. They're pretty okay. Just now and again, I haven't figured out how to get a decent pasture raised meat in my diet yet. Watch this space, you know. But anyway, so I went to Asda to go and buy some burgers. And last week I saw these burgers in there in the frozen section, and they're like £2.35 for a pound of burgers, like 4 quarter pounders. So I was going to get them. I went there, and the burger section has changed, and there's no burgers there. The ones I wanted, don't have any wheat in. All the other burgers, right? There's like 8 different types of frozen burgers, and they've all got wheat in them. They've all got a bit of flour to keep them all together, right? The cheapest ones there, like £1.25 for a pound, 454 grams of like burgers, right? But they've got wheat in. So I thought to myself, I'll go and look at the free from section. I knew the last time I looked at the free from section, it's this area where they do food that hasn't got any wheat in it or dairy or things like that. And it's usually a lot more expensive. So I went down to the free from section in the frozen compartments, and they've got they've increased the size of it from the last time I looked about 2 or 3 days ago. They've increased the size of the free from section. It's about 3 times bigger. They've now got burgers, right, that don't have wheat in, but they're, instead of being £2.35, they're in new packaging. It says free from, and they are £2.90. An extra 55 pence. That's like, in some years, that's like $1. Some years, when the exchange rate's good, and the pound is strong, 55 pence. That's $1 extra for the same burgers, but just in a different packaging. In a different part of the frozen section, the exact same burgers, just in a different package. And if you're someone who doesn't want to eat wheat, I feel like I'm being bullied. I feel like a little kid in a school who the bullies come and taken their lunch money. That's what it feels like. I feel like I'm being discriminated in the same sort of way that various people of different types feel discriminated. Women or people of various nationalities and stuff, that they get discriminated again, like racism and sexism and stuff. I feel like I've been discriminated again because I don't want to eat wheat. I'm having to pay like a huge extra amount of money. I get like 25% of I'm having to pay extra money just because I don't want to eat wheat. And whereas before there was this idea of gluten-free, I could have got the same burgers in the normal burger section without wheat, and they would have been £2.35. Just already twice as much, nearly twice as much as some of the burgers that have got wheat in. But now they're adding even more onto it, another 55 pence. So just because I don't want to have wheat in my burgers, instead of paying £1.25, I'm having to pay £2.90, like more than twice as much. Like 2.5 times. I'm having to fork out 2.5 times as much money just because I don't want to eat wheat. This seems like it's a scam. These people are just as bad as racists. Asda operating. Oh look, they're bullies. They're picky, looking at the small guy, the small person who hasn't got any money and who doesn't want to eat wheat, and they're you know, scamming them for money. Just like a bully would at school, you know, like bullies, like, you know, taking the little kids' lunch money. I don't see it as how it's any different. How is it different? You know, they just looked for someone, they found, oh, look, these people like to have a gluten-free stuff, or they've got allergies, so let's pick on them because they're weaker, you know. And you kind of expect a more like grown-up kind of impartial, good-natured attitude from these big conglomerates and that in sometimes, but no, they're just real pieces of shit, you know. And they're just like bullies at school. You got to stand up for them. So I thought I'd make this video. I already just tried actually going to their website, and if you want to tell Asda, it's called Tell Asda, right? And so I'm looking at it, and they've got this questionnaire. So you think, oh, I want to complain. So they give you a little place to complain, and the next thing is you go to their you go through their questionnaire. You've complained already about what you want to complain about, and then it says which checkout did you use? Now, I didn't use a checkout because they didn't have what I wanted, you know, but there's no way of telling them that. Because you can't finish the questionnaire if you don't tell them which sort of checkout you used. So because I didn't use a checkout because they didn't have what I wanted, now I can't complain. Not to them anyway, and unless there's some other way, I've probably got to phone them up or something, you know. I suppose I could just do a quick search. Oh dear. I could do like Asda complaints, can't I? AR, Asda customer service, blah, blah, blah. What? See, if you complain, you know, they don't like complaints. I could put in Asda complaints, and it's like, there is no Asda complaints. But if you want to, there's a site for Asda complaints, but it's not got anything to do with Asda. So I can phone them up. Let me just phone them up just for a laugh. It's probably going to be really tedious. Okay. They're giving me all this crap about what, you know, like the computer operated things going on. I have to wait for a colleague now. All their agents are busy. They start playing me stupid music now. I'm not surprised if they're busy. I bet they get loads of complaints, you know, and they just, like most of these call centers, what they rely on is to play you some really boring, tedious music, right? And for you to get tired and fed up, and you just sort of like put the phone down and give up, you know. Oh dear. they're currently experiencing very high call volumes. I bet this is something that's always happening. They've got like about 3 people on the phone, and like every minute you've got about 100 people like phoning up. So you've got to make, if you want to like get through to someone, it's going to take you hours and hours, and then it's going to be not. They're paying them as minimal amount of money. They're just wasting your time. I'm not even going to stick with it. It's no point. And I can just tell what it's going to be like. You'll be on the phone for hours. You'll get really bored. You're wasting loads and loads of time, you know, and time is money, you know, and valuable. And it's like they're just going to get you to waste loads of time. There's no way of really complaining about this stuff. I mean, you can, you know, I could sit there for 2 or 3 hours on the phone waiting to get through to someone, and they're going to be like, they're just someone who says nothing they can do about it. It's not their business, or they'll pass the message on to someone. Nobody's going to take what I'm saying seriously. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to point out that these people are like basically racist. They're no different from racist people. They shouldn't be given this sort of freedom to sort of pick on people like me just because I don't want to eat wheat. I doubt if anyone's going to watch this video. But anyway, just getting it off my chest. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you've watched, you know, if you can avoid, a lot of the time I go to Lidl, they do the same stuff. I wouldn't end up getting my burgers from Lidl, and so this is can work as an advert for Lidl. And they've done some just basically the same burgers they've got in Asda. You know, 99% beef, just a little bit of seasoning, Angus, like Scottish beef, quite decent quality. £1.99. So like, you know, a third of the price, 2/3 of the price, 67% of the price, you know. So a much better deal. They do a lot of stuff in Lidl, which is like 2/3 of the price of what they do in Asda. Asda's got more variety. I do go to Asda just because they got stuff that they haven't got at Lidl. But Lidl quite often does. I mean, they've got this cheese at Lidl, unpasteurized cheese. They've just started doing it at Asda, but it's £3 at Asda. In Lidl, it's only £2.09. You know, so it's again, it's like almost just as 2/3 the price. You can get a lot better. You know, it's definitely worth going to Lidl. Most of their stuff is just the same quality, exactly the same quality, but much cheaper. So definitely go to Lidl instead. This is my little like me having a tantrum at Asda for trying to sell me my burgers at a knocked up price just because I don't want wheat in it. Whereas like last week when you know when they were there just in the burger section, and I could have got them for a lot less money. And it's just because I don't want to eat wheat that they're using that as an excuse, as a way of making loads of extra money for themselves at my expense. You know, so I'm kind of a bit furious, and I just want to have a dig at them and sort of like say, look, this is not this is not fair. You know, and I can't get through to anyone online, or I don't know how, or even on the phone. It's ridiculous. You know, they're just going to get me sitting there waiting on the phone for the hours and hours. You know, there's no guarantee that anything I say is going to make any difference at all. So I'll just make a video. Tell everyone how that they're just completely out of order, these people. You know, they do a lot of nice stuff. I do still buy a lot of stuff from there because it's cheap and a lot of it's quite good value, you know. But they can be real arseholes, you know. So if you can go anywhere else, somewhere, you know, to get your shopping, I'd recommend going somewhere else. Because you don't want to support these people. They're Walmart, for fuck's sake. They're the same people as Walmart. You know, you don't want to be feeding them, because all the time you're getting cheap stuff from there, you're stopping other people from making a living. You know, that have to sell their stuff a bit more expensive because there's no other way options for them. So you put these other people out of business and turn everyone into slaves if you keep going to Asda and Walmart and that. So if you can go somewhere else, go there, you know. Okay, all right, thanks for watching. Bye. Why won't it stop? There we go.